Hello everyone, and welcome back to Discover Your Dreams, the channel where we talk about rediscovering yourself, reclaiming your voice, and creating a life you love, especially in the powerful second half of life. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found me. This space is all about embracing the possibilities that open up after 45, a time when so many of us are rethinking who we are, what we want, and what's next. Today, we're talking about something that lies at the very heart of transformation, the power of belief. Here's the truth. Your beliefs shape your reality. They shape what you see as possible, what you allow yourself to pursue, and what you experience in your life. How many times have you said to yourself, "It's too late. I missed my chance. I don't have what it takes anymore"? These are not just passing thoughts. These are beliefs, and beliefs have the power to shape our reality. And the exciting part? Beliefs are not fixed. They can be rewritten, reshaped, and renewed at any stage of life. In fact, after 45, whether you're dealing with menopause, empty nest, career changes, or simply that sense of, is this all there is? It's the perfect time to rewire your beliefs and step into a brand new chapter. I want you to imagine this. Two people face the exact same opportunity at midlife. One believes, I'm too old to start over. The other believes, I have wisdom and experience that make me ready for this. Same situation, completely different outcome. Why? Because of belief. In today's video, we're going to look at how my favorite teachers, Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, show us the incredible link between imagination, faith, and the science of thought. Plus, I'll walk you through practical tools to change the beliefs that no longer serve you. So let's get started. Let's begin with the foundation. Why are beliefs so powerful? At its core, a belief is simply a thought you've thought over and over again until it feels true. But here's the key. Whether or not that belief is objectively true doesn't matter. If you believe it deeply enough, it becomes your reality. Neville Goddard, one of the most profound teachers of imagination, said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." In other words, imagine what you desire as if it's already real, and live from the state of that belief. Napoleon Hill echoed this in his classic book, Think and Grow Rich, when he said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Notice the key word here, believe. You can dream big, but if you don't actually believe it's possible, your subconscious won't support it. And then we have Dr. Joe Dispenza, who takes this to the scientific level. He explains how belief literally rewires the brain. Through neuroplasticity, your thoughts and emotions create new neural pathways. When you repeat limiting beliefs, you strengthen those old circuits. But when you choose empowering beliefs and embody them with elevated emotions like joy, gratitude, or excitement, you begin firing and wiring a new reality. In other words, the brain can't tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. If you rehearse a thought enough, the brain wires it as real. Think about that for a moment. Your imagination, your thoughts, your repeated inner dialogue, they're not just in your head. They're laying down the blueprint for your future. Belief is not woo-woo. It's not blind faith. It's the bridge between your inner world and your outer results. Let me give you an example. Say you believe, I'm too old to start over. That belief colors everything. When an opportunity shows up, you dismiss it. When you think about your dreams, you shut them down before they even take shape. You live small, not because it's true that you're too old, but because you've chosen to believe it. Now let's flip this around. Imagine instead you believe, this is the perfect age to reinvent myself. I have wisdom, freedom, and experience on my side. Suddenly, the same opportunities feel exciting. You approach life with energy. You see possibility. You act boldly. The external world didn't change. Your belief did. Now here's an opportunity for some self-reflection. What's one belief you repeat often that might be limiting you? Just name it. That awareness alone is powerful. Now let's talk about why this is such a big issue in midlife. For so many of us, the years after 45 bring big shifts. Maybe your kids are leaving home and suddenly you're asking, who am I now? Maybe your career feels stale, or you're facing downsizing, or you're wondering if it's too late to try something new. Maybe you're dealing with health changes or menopause, or the realization that life isn't endless. All of these transitions stir up beliefs, and not always the empowering ones. Here's the truth. Midlife is a testing ground for belief. This is the season where old doubts resurface. We ask, am I too old to start a business? Can I really find love again? Do I have the energy to change my health? These aren't just questions, they're belief tests. And for so many people, midlife becomes a trap of resignation because they choose to believe the limitations. Some of these common midlife beliefs sound like, it's too late, I've missed my chance. I should just be grateful and settle. People my age don't. And here's the thing, those beliefs often don't come from us. They come from society's expectations about aging, from the roles we've played for decades, and from the stories we've absorbed. But what if midlife wasn't a crisis at all? What if it's a gift? What if this is the perfect season to rewrite your beliefs, to shed the old ones that no longer fit, and to choose new ones that empower you? Countless people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s have created brand new lives. Oprah became a household name in her 50s. Vera Wang entered the fashion industry at 40. Colonel Sanders launched KFC at 65. The difference wasn't youth or luck, it was belief. I want you to take a moment right now. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath and imagine waking up tomorrow morning with a brand new belief. The second half of my life will be the most fulfilling, exciting, and creative chapter yet. How would your day feel different? How would you walk into the world differently? That shift, that's the power of belief. Now, if the message so far is resonating with you and you're wanting a more hands-on way to work towards your goals, I've put together a workbook, Manifest Your Best Life, a midlife guide to transformation, to help you do just that. Rooted in the teachings of Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, this guide is crafted especially for adults 45 and older who are ready to rewrite their story. Inside, you'll find simple, practical steps and exercises to help you shift your mindset, align your emotions, and finally create the relationships, health, and financial freedom you've been dreaming of. And if you're looking to go even deeper, I also offer one-on-one coaching to help you apply these tools directly to your unique goals and challenges with personalized support every step of the way. So if you're done waiting and ready to start living the life you know you were meant for, grab your copy of Manifest Your Best Life today, and let's take this journey together. The links for both are in the description below. All right, now let's get back to our lesson. Now let's dig a little deeper into where beliefs come from. Our beliefs don't just appear out of nowhere. They're built over time, layer by layer. The first big influence usually comes from family. Parents, siblings, or close relatives pass down values and traditions, often without even realizing it. Then there's the culture and community we grow up in, which gives us a sense of what's normal or right. Most of our core beliefs are formed in childhood. We hear something enough times it sinks into our subconscious. Maybe you heard, money doesn't grow on trees, artists don't make a living, women your age should slow down, men your age should already have it all figured out. And without questioning it, you adopted it as truth. As adults, we live 95% of our lives from the subconscious mind. That means unless we bring awareness, we're running on old programming, stories we didn't even choose. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully. The brain is neuroplastic. That means it can change. Old wiring can be rewired. New pathways can be formed, and it happens when we consistently practice new thoughts and new emotions. This is why Neville taught imagination. That's why Hill taught autosuggestion. It's why Dispenza teaches mental rehearsals. They're all different languages pointing to the same truth. You are not stuck with your old beliefs. You can change them. Here's a little reflection exercise. Think back to the earliest memory you have of being told something limiting about yourself. Maybe you were told you weren't good at math, or that you weren't creative, or that you needed to be realistic. Write it down. Then ask yourself, is this still serving me? Do I want to keep this belief? So how do you actually shift belief? Let's talk about some practical steps you can take. Neville Goddard taught that affirmations and scripting work by impressing the subconscious mind with the feeling of already living your desired reality. Instead of just repeating words, you step into the state of the wish fulfilled, writing or affirming as though your goal has already happened. This practice gradually reshapes your inner assumptions, and since Goddard believed assumption hardens into fact, those new beliefs begin to reflect in your outer world. Write down your desired reality as though it's already true. Repeat it daily. Feel it. Believe it. Joe Dispenza emphasizes that visualization paired with elevated emotion is one of the most powerful ways to rewire the brain and shift beliefs. When you vividly imagine a desired future and feel the emotions, gratitude, joy, freedom, as if it's already real, your brain and body begin to respond as though the experience has already happened. Over time, this mental rehearsal creates new neural pathways and emotional patterns, helping you break free from old limiting beliefs and embody a new state of being that eventually shows up in your external reality. Don't just imagine your dream, feel it. Add gratitude, excitement, joy. Your brain records these emotions as if the experience is real. Napoleon Hill believed that no one achieves lasting success entirely on their own, hence his famous idea, the mastermind. He described it as the third mind that emerges when two or more people come together in harmony with a shared purpose. In other words, when you surround yourself with like-minded, supportive individuals, the combined energy, ideas, and encouragement creates something greater than the sum of its parts. By joining or forming a mastermind group, you tap into a collective intelligence that helps you see possibilities you might miss on your own. Hill saw this as a spiritual and practical force, a community that not only shares knowledge but also strengthens belief in your goals. Over time, this shared vision and accountability can shift limiting beliefs, replacing them with confidence and clarity fueled by the group's collective momentum. Surrounding yourself with people who reinforce empowering beliefs accelerates belief building. Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, and Joe Dispenza all emphasize the power of acting as if to reshape beliefs and create new realities. Though each frames it in his own way, Goddard taught that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, living inwardly as though your desire is already real until it hardens into fact. Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, stressed the importance of faith and visualization, encouraging people to behave with the confidence and mindset of success before it arrives, thereby attracting opportunities aligned with that belief. Dispenza brings a scientific lens, explaining that when you mentally rehearse a future and feel the elevated emotions of it now, your brain and body begin to biologically live that reality, making it more likely to manifest. Together they show that embodying your desired state in thought, feeling, and action is the bridge between imagination and tangible results. Take small daily actions that match your desired belief. Want to be healthy? Move your body today. Want abundance? Start saving or investing $1 today. Action confirms belief. These practices compound. Every time you practice them, you strengthen the muscle of belief. One of the most fascinating things about belief is that it sits at the crossroads of spirituality and science. For centuries, spiritual teachers have spoken about the creative power of thought, while in recent decades, modern researchers have uncovered evidence that our brains and bodies respond directly to what we consistently imagine and feel. In other words, both mystics and neuroscientists are pointing to the same truth. Belief is not just a passive idea in the mind, but an active force that shapes reality. Take Neville Goddard, for example. He taught that imagination is not a daydream or a fantasy, but the very activity of God within you. To him, the act of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled was the key to creation. When you inwardly accept something as already true, whether it's health, success, or love, you impress that conviction onto your subconscious mind. And because the subconscious governs so much of our behavior and perception, life itself begins to rearrange to reflect that inner assumption. Neville's message was radical. You don't wait for circumstances to change before you believe. You believe first, and circumstances follow. Napoleon Hill, writing in the early 20th century, offered a more practical and business-minded perspective, but his conclusions were strikingly similar. In Think and Grow Rich, he introduced the concept of autosuggestion, the deliberate practice of feeding your mind with affirmations, desires, and mental images until your subconscious accepts them as fact. Hill argued that when faith and desire are combined, they create a magnetic force that draws opportunities, people, and resources into your life. His formula was simple but profound. Thoughts charged with emotion become beliefs, and beliefs drive action, which in turn produces results. For Hill, success wasn't luck. It was the predictable outcome of disciplined belief. Fast forward to today, and Dr. Joe Dispenza bridges these timeless teachings with modern neuroscience. He explains that when you visualize a desired outcome vividly enough, your brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. The same neurons fire as if you were physically living the experience. Over time, this mental rehearsal literally rewires your brain, creating new neural pathways that support new patterns of thought and behavior. Even your body's chemistry begins to shift as hormones and signals align with the emotions you're practicing. In this way, Dispenza shows that belief is not just a psychological trick, it's a biological process that transforms who you are at the cellular level. So whether you call it faith, imagination, or neuroplasticity, the principle remains the same. What you consistently believe, feel, and rehearse becomes your lived reality. Think of it like this. Every time you replay an old limiting belief, I'm not good enough, things never work out for me, you're strengthening the wiring of that belief in your brain, making it easier for your mind and your body to default to that pattern. But every time you practice a new empowering belief, I am capable, life supports me, I already have what I need, and you combine it with genuine emotion and repetition, you're laying down fresh neural tracks that eventually become your new normal. This is where the mystical and the scientific meet. Spiritual teachers remind us that imagination is divine power in action, while scientists show us the measurable changes in the brain and the body that occur when we practice new beliefs. When you bring these two worlds together, faith and biology, imagination and neuroscience, transformation stops being a vague possibility and becomes an inevitable outcome. Belief then is not just something you hold in your mind, it's the creative engine that shapes your entire reality. Now let's get practical. How do you actually shift your beliefs? I want to share 4 tools you can use starting today. The first is using affirmations with feeling. Affirmations aren't about parroting empty words. They only work when you bring in emotion. Instead of saying, I am confident, in a flat voice, say it with energy, with your body, with conviction. I am confident, alive, and free to create. Neville taught us that it's the feeling of the wish fulfilled that makes it real. Next, we have visualization or mental rehearsal. Every day, close your eyes and imagine your dream as though it's already happening. See it, hear it, smell it, and feel it. If your dream is to start a new business, imagine sitting at your desk with happy clients thanking you. If your dream is love, imagine the warmth of holding someone's hand. Dr. Dispenza shows that this literally trains your brain and your body for the future. Our third tool is to journal as if. Write out your life in the present tense as though it's already true. Here's an example. I wake up each morning excited for the day. My work inspires me. My relationships are full of love. I feel strong and vibrant in my body. This anchors new beliefs on paper and makes them tangible. The final tool I want to discuss is called the catch and flip. This is a simple but powerful habit. When you catch yourself thinking of a limiting belief, pause. Ask, is this absolutely true? Do I want to keep it? Then flip it into an empowering alternative. Here's an example. I'm too old to start over. Instead say, this is the perfect age to create with wisdom and freedom. It takes practice, but every time you do this, you're teaching your subconscious a new story. To illustrate these principles more clearly, let's turn to a few real-world stories. Sarah, age 52, had spent most of her adult life devoted to raising her children. When they grew up, they moved out. She suddenly found herself in a quiet house, unsure of who she was outside of being a mother. She often caught herself thinking, my time has passed. I missed my chance to do something for me. That belief weighed heavily on her, leaving her feeling invisible and without direction. One day, while scrolling online, she stumbled across a video about visualization and affirmations. At first, it felt silly to her, talking to herself in the mirror, writing down dreams she wasn't sure she could achieve. But something inside nudged her to try. Each morning, she began affirming, "Now is my time. I am capable. I am ready." She paired those words with vivid mental pictures of herself running a bakery, packaging cookies with her logo, and smiling as orders came in. Slowly, her energy shifted. Instead of dwelling on what she thought she'd lost, she started to feel excitement about what could be. She dusted off old recipes, experimented in her kitchen, and eventually launched a small online bakery from home. At first, it was just a few orders from friends and neighbors, but word spread quickly. Within a year, she had a loyal customer base, glowing reviews, and more orders than she could have imagined. What mattered most wasn't just the income, it was the joy and purpose she felt again. Sarah realized her belief had been the only thing holding her back. By changing the story she told herself, she opened the door to a new chapter of life that was richer and more fulfilling than she ever expected. David, 49, had spent nearly 25 years climbing the corporate ladder. On paper, he was successful, steady paycheck, respectable title, benefits, but inside, he felt drained. Every morning, the thought of another day in the office filled him with dread. He often told himself, "It's too risky to change careers now. I've invested too much time here, and I'm too old to start over." That belief kept him stuck, even as his unhappiness grew heavier with each passing year. One evening, after yet another long day that left him staring blankly at his computer screen, David picked up a journal. At first, he simply vented his frustrations. But soon he began experimenting with a new practice he had read about, writing as if his dream life was already real. Each night, he described himself coaching clients, helping people find clarity, and feeling energized by meaningful work. Alongside journaling, he began daily mental rehearsals, closing his eyes and vividly imagining himself speaking with clients, hearing their gratitude, and experiencing the satisfaction of making a difference. At first it felt awkward, even fake, but over time something shifted. The more he practiced, the more his old belief, "It's too risky," lost its grip. In its place grew a new conviction, "It's safe for me to follow my passion." That belief gave him the courage to take small steps, signing up for a coaching certification, offering free sessions to friends, and gradually building confidence in his new path. Within a couple of years, David transitioned fully into life coaching. Today, he describes his work as deeply fulfilling, saying he feels 10 years younger, lighter, and more alive. The biggest change wasn't just his career, it was the story he told himself. By rewriting his inner script through journaling and mental rehearsal, David discovered that the real risk wasn't leaving his old job, it was staying in a life that didn't inspire him. Maria, 55, had been living with chronic pain for years. Simple tasks like climbing stairs or carrying groceries felt overwhelming, and she often caught herself whispering the same phrase in frustration, "My body is broken." That belief became her identity, shaping not only how she moved, but how she saw herself. She avoided social events, gave up hobbies she once loved, and felt her world shrinking smaller each year. One evening, while searching for answers beyond medication and doctor's visits, Maria came across Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings. His message, that the mind could influence the body through visualization and emotion, sparked a flicker of hope. At first, she was skeptical. How could imagining herself healthy possibly make a difference? But something inside her urged her to try. Each morning, she set aside quiet time to close her eyes and picture her body moving with ease. She imagined herself walking through a park, laughing with friends, even dancing, scenes that once felt impossible. More importantly, she practiced feeling the emotions of freedom, gratitude, and strength as if those moments were already real. Weeks turned into months, and Maria noticed subtle changes. The pain wasn't gone, but it no longer defined her. She had more energy, her posture improved, and she began to trust her body again. Over time, her symptoms eased, but the deeper transformation was in her belief. She no longer saw herself as broken. Instead, she carried a new mantra: my body is strong and it knows how to heal. That shift changed everything. She returned to gardening, started walking with a local group, and even signed up for a gentle yoga class. For Maria, the greatest victory wasn't just physical relief. It was reclaiming her sense of possibility and reconnecting with the body she had once given up on. These stories remind us that it's never about age, it's always about belief. Now let's practice together. I want you to find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep, slow breath in and let it out. Think of one dream you still carry, something your heart whispers about when the world is quiet. Now imagine as though it's already real. See yourself living that dream. Notice the details. Who's with you? What do you see? How does it feel? And now speak it out loud, or silently if you prefer. I am living my dream of, and fill in the blank. Feel it. Smile as though it's already here. Let gratitude wash over you. That's the practice. It's simple, but it's powerful. And if you do this every day, just a few minutes, you'll begin to rewire your beliefs. Try it for 21 days. Notice what shifts. Let's pull all of this together. Your beliefs are the silent architects of your life. They determine what you notice, what you pursue, and ultimately, what you experience. The beautiful truth is that midlife isn't a closing chapter. It's an invitation to rewrite the script. This is the moment to release the old stories that have held you back and to choose new beliefs that align with the life you're ready to create. Think of it this way. Neville Goddard revealed the creative power of imagination. Napoleon Hill showed us how autosuggestion and faith can turn desire into reality. And Dr. Joe Dispenza gave us the science of neuroplasticity, proving that the brain can literally rewire itself. Together, their teachings form a powerful roadmap for transformation, one that blends the mystical, the practical, and the scientific. So here's my invitation. Share in the comments one belief you're ready to let go of, and the empowering new belief you're choosing to replace it with. And if you're ready for deeper guidance in reshaping your mindset and building the life you've been dreaming of, you'll find a link in the description to learn more about working one-on-one with me. If this video resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next part of this series. Because the second half of life doesn't have to be a decline. It can be your most vibrant, fulfilling chapter yet. And it all begins with belief. Thank you for joining me.